The stars had always felt far away. For thousands of years, humanity looked into the night sky and wondered what was waiting beyond it. Some dreamed of friendly aliens. Others feared powerful enemies hiding among the stars. Nobody imagined that one day the answer would arrive above Earth without warning. It happened on a quiet morning. People were driving to work. Children were sitting in classrooms. Scientists were working in laboratories. Then every satellite around Earth detected something impossible. A giant object had appeared near the edge of the solar system. At first, astronomers thought it was a mistake. Their computers showed readings that made no sense. The object was larger than many moons, and it was moving fast. Within hours, observatories around the world confirmed the truth. It was not a natural object. It was a ship, a massive alien ship. News spread across the planet like wildfire. Television stations stopped normal broadcasts. Social media exploded. People gathered in homes, offices, and public squares, staring at giant screens. Nobody knew what would happen next. Would the visitors come in peace? Would they share knowledge? Would they welcome humanity into a larger galaxy? The answers came 3 days later, and they were not the answers anyone wanted. Every screen on Earth suddenly turned black. Phones, televisions, computers, even electronic billboards. For a moment, the entire planet fell silent. Then an image appeared. The face on the screen was not human. Its skin was dark blue. Its eyes glowed silver. Its expression was cold and emotionless. Behind it stood rows of armored soldiers. The alien spoke. Its voice echoed across every city on Earth. "We are the Dominion Empire." Millions listened in complete silence. The alien continued. "You have entered a galaxy that already belongs to stronger powers. Resistance is unnecessary. Compliance is expected." The message lasted less than 5 minutes. Yet it changed human history forever. The alien explained that the Dominion Empire controlled thousands of star systems. Hundreds of species obeyed its rule. Entire civilizations paid tribute to the empire. And now Earth had something the Dominion wanted. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, human scientists had recently discovered a rare energy crystal. The crystal was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. A small piece contained enough energy to power a city for years. The discovery had been kept secret. At least humans thought it had. The Dominion somehow knew everything. The alien leader looked directly into the camera. That resource now belongs to the Dominion Empire. People around the world stared in disbelief. The alien continued. Earth will surrender all claims to the crystal deposits. A pause followed. Then came the words that shocked the entire planet. Earth will also dismantle its military forces, orbital defenses, and deep space fleets. Governments immediately began contacting one another. Military leaders rushed into emergency meetings. The alien wasn't finished. "You have 7 days to comply." The silver eyes narrowed. "If Earth refuses, military action will begin." The screen went black. The message ended. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then panic erupted. News channels exploded with debates. Experts argued about possible responses. Social media filled with fear and anger. Across the world, people asked the same question. What could humanity possibly do? The Dominion Empire sounded unstoppable. According to the information attached to the message, the Empire had conquered countless worlds. Its fleets were enormous. Its technology was centuries ahead of Earth's. Many people believed resistance was impossible. Some leaders quietly agreed. Inside government bunkers, emergency meetings continued day and night. The leaders of Earth gathered through secure communications. Military commanders presented grim reports. Compared to the Dominion, humanity was weak, very weak. The Empire could probably destroy Earth defenses within days. Some politicians suggested surrender. Others suggested negotiations. A few argued for immediate resistance. The debates became heated. No one could agree. Meanwhile, far beyond Earth, the rest of the galaxy watched. Alien news networks discussed humanity constantly. Most commentators shared the same opinion. Humans would surrender. Of course they would. Every young species surrendered when facing the Dominion. It was a logical choice. One famous alien analyst laughed during a broadcast. The humans have courage, perhaps, but courage does not stop battleships. Across the galaxy, billions agreed. Humanity's fate seemed obvious, but something strange was happening on Earth, far from the cameras. Hidden facilities suddenly became active. Old factories reopened. Military shipyards began operating 24 hours a day. Cargo ships carried mysterious equipment between secret locations. Retired officers received unexpected messages. Engineers were called back to work. Scientists gained access to projects that had been classified for decades. The public noticed little, but intelligence agencies noticed everything, including Dominion spies. Reports quickly reached the Empire's commanders. Human military activity was increasing. Factories were expanding production. Fleet movements were becoming more frequent. The reports made Dominion officials laugh. What difference could it make? 7 days was not enough time to prepare for war. Humanity was simply afraid. Nothing more. Yet not everyone in the Dominion felt confident. One experienced admiral studied the reports carefully. He had spent decades fighting wars across the galaxy. He knew fear when he saw it. This did not look like fear. This looked like preparation. The admiral requested additional surveillance. His superiors dismissed his concerns. Humans are young, one commander said. They understand reality. They will surrender. The admiral was not convinced. Back on Earth, another meeting was taking place. Deep underground, beneath layers of steel and stone, a small group of military leaders sat around a table. At the head sat an elderly admiral. His hair was gray. His face carried the marks of a lifetime of service. The room was silent. Everyone waited for him to speak. Finally, he stood. He looked around the room. Then he spoke 6 simple words. "They think we will surrender." Nobody replied. The admiral's eyes hardened. A faint smile appeared on his face. "They are about to learn otherwise." The room fell silent again, because everyone there knew exactly what those words meant. War was coming, and somewhere beyond the stars, the Dominion Empire still believed humanity would kneel. They had 7 days left to enjoy that belief, because hidden throughout the solar system, thousands of human warships were already beginning to move, and nobody in the galaxy was prepared for what would happen next. The 7th day arrived. Across Earth, people watched the countdown clock that had become famous around the world. Every news channel showed it. Every phone displayed it. Every person knew what it meant. When the clock reached 0, the Dominion Empire expected Earth's answer. The galaxy expected Earth's answer too. Most alien civilizations believed they already knew what that answer would be. Surrender. It was the only logical choice. At least that was what everyone thought. Far beyond Earth, the massive Dominion flagship floated in silence. The ship was enormous. It stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Thousands of weapons covered its surface. Entire cities could have fit inside it. From the command deck, Grand Commander Varix stared at a holographic image of Earth. His silver eyes remained calm. To him, this mission was routine. The Dominion had conquered stronger civilizations before. Humans were nothing special. An officer approached. "The deadline has arrived, Commander." Varix nodded. "Open communication channels." Moments later, a message was transmitted directly to Earth. The entire galaxy watched. Millions of alien viewers tuned into live broadcasts. Nobody wanted to miss humanity's surrender. For several seconds, there was only silence. Then Earth's answer arrived. One sentence. Simple, direct, impossible. "We respectfully decline." The galaxy froze. For a moment, nobody believed what they had heard. News anchors stared at their screens. Alien politicians looked confused. Military experts checked their translations. Surely there had been a mistake. But there wasn't. Humanity had refused. Commander Varix frowned. It was the first sign of emotion he had shown all day. "They refuse?" he asked. "Yes, Commander." The room became silent. Then Varix laughed. Several officers joined him. The idea seemed ridiculous. A young species with limited technology had just rejected one of the most powerful empires in known space. It was almost funny. "Prepare the invasion fleet," Varix said. "They will learn." But at that exact moment, strange reports began arriving. One officer suddenly looked nervous. "Commander, we have unexpected activity throughout the solar system." Varix looked up. "Explain." The officer activated several holographic displays. Red warning symbols appeared everywhere. Asteroid belts, distant moons, mining colonies, abandoned stations. Dozens of locations suddenly lit up, then hundreds, then thousands. The command deck became completely silent because ships were appearing. Lots of ships. Varric stared at the display. "How many?" The officer swallowed. "We are still counting." More signals appeared every second. The number continued rising. 500, 1,000, 3,000, 6,000. Nobody spoke. The Dominion intelligence reports had claimed Earth possessed only a few hundred military vessels. The reports were wrong. Very wrong. The officer finally looked up. Current estimate, over 12,000 combat ships. The room exploded with confusion. Impossible. Where did they come from? How do we miss them? Questions filled the command deck. No answers came, because nobody knew. Back on Earth, the truth was finally being revealed. For nearly 50 years, humanity had secretly prepared for the possibility of alien hostility. Not because they expected war, because they feared it. The first human explorers had discovered something important about the galaxy. Most civilizations relied heavily on alliances and diplomacy. Few planned for worst-case scenarios. Humans did. They always had. History taught them harsh lessons. So while diplomats spoke about peace, engineers quietly built defenses. While politicians discussed cooperation, military planners prepared emergency strategies. Everything had remained hidden. Until now, deep inside asteroid belts, enormous shipyards opened. Massive steel doors moved for the first time in decades. Inside waited fleets of warships. Hidden beneath icy moons, underground hangars became active. Weapon systems powered on. Shield generators awakened. Throughout the solar system, humanity's secret preparations finally emerged. The Dominion wasn't facing the Earth it thought it knew. It was facing the Earth that had prepared for disaster. Meanwhile, ordinary people watched history unfold. Fear still existed. Many understood that the Dominion remained stronger. The hidden fleets did not guarantee victory, but something had changed. Hope. For the first time since the ultimatum arrived, people felt it. Across cities and towns, crowds gathered around giant screens. They watched endless streams of ships leaving hidden bases. Thousands of vessels moved into defensive positions. The sight inspired millions. The message was clear. Humanity intended to fight. In a classified command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Marcus Hale watched the fleet movements. The old admiral from the previous meeting stood quietly beside a large holographic map. Young officers worked around him. Data flowed constantly. Warnings appeared every second. Nobody rested. The coming battle would decide everything. One officer approached. "Admiral, all defense groups report ready." Hale nodded. "Any sign of Dominion movement?" The officer looked serious. "They're advancing." The holographic display changed. Thousands of Dominion ships were now entering the outer regions of the solar system. The invasion had begun. Even with humanity's hidden fleets revealed, the enemy remained enormous. The Dominion possessed countless warships, enough to darken space itself. Some officers looked worried. Hale noticed. He understood why. The numbers were frightening. But he also understood something else. Numbers were not everything. The Dominion expected an easy victory. That belief was dangerous. Overconfidence had destroyed many armies throughout history. Perhaps it would destroy another. Far away, Commander Varix continued studying intelligence reports. The more information he received, the less comfortable he became. Human ship numbers were increasing. New defense platforms continued appearing. Hidden stations activated throughout the solar system. The situation no longer looked simple. Yet, Varix remained confident. The Dominion still possessed superior technology, superior weapons, superior resources. The outcome remained inevitable, or so he believed. Then another report arrived. This one changed everything. An intelligence officer rushed forward. His face looked pale. "Commander, we discovered something unusual." Varix frowned. "What is it?" The officer hesitated, then answered, "Human military records show they have never experienced a unified planetary war effort before." Varix looked confused. "Why is that important?" The officer swallowed. "Because every major conflict in their history made them stronger." The command deck became quiet. The officer continued, "The longer humans fight, the better they become." Nobody said anything. For the first time, uncertainty entered the room. Meanwhile, billions across the galaxy continued watching. What had begun as an expected surrender was becoming something far more interesting. Humanity had surprised everyone. The question now was simple. Could they survive what came next? As fleets moved through the darkness of space, thousands of weapons locked onto targets. Fighter squadrons launched. Shield systems activated. Battle formations formed across millions of kilometers. The first great battle of the war was only hours away, and somewhere in the vast darkness between planets, a young human captain stared through the bridge window of her warship. Ahead of her waited the largest invasion fleet humanity had ever seen. Behind her waited Earth. There would be no retreat, only victory or extinction. Then a warning alarm suddenly echoed across every ship in the fleet. The Dominion had entered engagement range. The war was about to begin. Space was silent, but everyone knew that silence would not last. Across the solar system, thousands of human warships waited in formation. Their engines glowed against the darkness. Weapons were charged. Shields were active. Every crew member knew what was coming. The first battle of the war. The battle that would decide whether humanity had any chance of survival. Far ahead, the Dominion fleet continued advancing. The sight was terrifying. Millions of lights filled the darkness. Thousands of battleships moved together like a giant metal storm. The fleet seemed endless. Young Lieutenant Sarah Cole stood on the bridge of a human cruiser Resolute. She stared at the enemy ships appearing on her display. Her hands felt cold. She had trained her entire life for moments like this. But training was different from reality. Nobody had ever fought a war like this before. Behind her, Captain Daniel Reyes remained calm. At least he appeared calm. Inside, he knew the situation was dangerous. Very dangerous. The Dominion outnumbered them. Their weapons were stronger. Their ships were faster. Every calculation predicted a Dominion victory. But Captain Reyes ignored the numbers, because history had taught humans something important. Predictions were not destiny. People decided destiny. Suddenly, a voice echoed across the bridge. Enemy fleet entering combat range. The room became silent. Every officer looked at their screens. The war had officially begun. Back on Earth, billions watched live broadcasts. Entire cities gathered in public squares. Families sat together inside their homes. Schools paused lessons. Factories stopped production. For the first time in history, nearly every human being watched the same event. Nobody looked away. In the Dominion flagship, Commander Varix stood confidently. His officers waited for orders. "This battle ends quickly," Varix said. "Destroy their outer defenses." The command was transmitted instantly. Thousands of Dominion weapons fired. The darkness exploded with light. Massive energy beams crossed space. Missiles launched in enormous waves. The attack looked unstoppable. Human defense platforms immediately responded. Giant railguns fired. Missile batteries launched thousands of countermeasures. Laser networks lit up the void. For several seconds, space became a storm of fire. Explosions appeared everywhere. The first ships were destroyed. The first crews died. And the war truly began. On the Resolute, alarms suddenly screamed. Incoming fire. Captain Reyes reacted instantly. Evasive maneuvers. The cruiser turned sharply. A Dominion energy beam missed by only a few meters. The blast passed close enough to shake the entire ship. Crew members grabbed their stations. Warning lights flashed red. Sarah's heart pounded. This was real. People were dying. Entire ships vanished every minute. Yet something unexpected happened. Human formations did not collapse. They adapted. When one ship was damaged, nearby vessels immediately moved to protect it. When defenses weakened in one area, reinforcements arrived within minutes. Every captain seemed to know Exactly what the others needed. The Dominion noticed. Commander Varix frowned. Human ships were behaving differently from other species. Most civilizations panicked under pressure. Humans became organized. Every attack appeared coordinated. Every retreat was planned. Every sacrifice had a purpose. An officer approached him. "Commander, their fleet movements are unusual." Varix nodded. "I see that." The officer hesitated. "They are not fighting to survive." Varix looked at him. "What do you mean?" The officer swallowed. "They are fighting to protect each other." The realization spread across the command deck. Human ships repeatedly placed themselves in danger to save allies. Damaged vessels were never abandoned. Escape pods were actively rescued during combat. Medical ships entered dangerous areas to recover wounded crews. To Dominion commanders, the behavior seemed irrational. Resources were supposed to be expendable. Humans clearly disagreed, and that difference was beginning to matter. Hours passed. The battle grew larger. Entire sections of space burned with explosions. Still, humanity continued fighting. Back on Earth, fear slowly turned into pride. People watched ordinary men and women stand against impossible odds. No one surrendered. No one ran. Every ship fought until it could no longer fight. Then something happened that nobody expected. A small human destroyer became trapped behind enemy lines. 3 Dominion cruisers surrounded it. The situation looked hopeless. Alien commentators immediately predicted its destruction. Instead, the destroyer charged forward, directly toward the enemy. The crew knew they could not escape, so they made a different choice. The destroyer accelerated at maximum speed. Its engines overloaded. Its reactor became unstable. Moments later, it slammed into the lead Dominion cruiser. A massive explosion filled space. The cruiser broke apart instantly. The shockwave damaged the other 2 ships. Human forces immediately attacked. Within minutes, all 3 enemy vessels were destroyed. Across the galaxy, viewers sat in stunned silence. The destroyer's crew had sacrificed themselves, not because they were ordered to, because they chose to. For the first time, alien civilizations began understanding something about humanity. Humans feared death, but they feared failure even more. Commander Varix received constant reports. None of them were good. Human resistance was stronger than expected. Casualties were increasing. Entire attack formations had stalled. The invasion timetable was already behind schedule. That had never happened before. Not once. Then another officer rushed onto the bridge. His expression looked shocked. "Commander!" Varix turned. "What is it?" The officer activated a holographic display. Several Dominion ships suddenly disappeared from the tactical map. At first, everyone thought it was a system error. Then more ships vanished. And more. And more. "What happened?" Varix demanded. The officer looked confused. "We don't know." Long-range sensors searched the area. Finally, new information arrived. The command deck fell silent. Because the missing ships had not disappeared. They had been destroyed. Instantly. Completely. By a weapon nobody had seen before. Deep inside the asteroid belt, hidden doors opened. Massive structures emerged from the darkness. Gigantic weapons platforms. Weapons humanity had secretly built for decades. The Dominion had never detected them. The platforms fired again. Brilliant beams crossed millions of kilometers. 3 more Dominion battleships exploded. Then 5. Then 10. Panic spread through enemy formations. For the first time during the war, Dominion vessels began retreating. Commander Varix stared at the screen. His confidence was gone. The easy victory he expected no longer existed. The humans had hidden entire fleets. Now they had revealed hidden superweapons. How many more surprises remained? Back on Earth, celebrations erupted. Crowds cheered. People hugged strangers. For the first time since the ultimatum arrived, humanity had proof. The Dominion could bleed. The Dominion could lose. The Dominion could be beaten. But Admiral Marcus Hale did not celebrate. He stood quietly inside the command center, watching the battle unfold, because he knew something others did not. The hidden weapons were only the beginning. The real plan had not started yet. And if it worked, The galaxy would soon discover humanity's greatest strength, not their ships, not their weapons, not their courage, their ability to learn faster than any enemy they had ever faced. As the battle continued across the solar system, new orders left the human command network, orders that would change the entire war. And far away, deep inside captured Dominion data files, human intelligence officers discovered a secret so dangerous that it could destroy the Empire itself. The war had lasted only 4 days, but already the entire galaxy was talking about humanity. The Dominion Empire had expected surrender. Instead, they found resistance. They expected fear. Instead, they found determination. And now, after the destruction of several Dominion battle groups, something even stranger was happening. The Empire was becoming nervous. Inside the massive Dominion flagship, Commander Varix stood silently before a wall of tactical displays. His officers avoided eye contact. The atmosphere on the command deck had changed. For days ago, everyone expected victory. Now, nobody was making predictions. The human fleets refused to behave as expected. Every report seemed impossible. Every battle created new surprises. Every human defeat somehow turned into a future advantage. Varix studied the latest combat analysis. The numbers did not make sense. Humanity had fewer ships, fewer resources, less advanced technology, yet their combat effectiveness was increasing every day. That should not have been possible. An officer approached carefully. "Commander, the analysts have completed another report." Varix looked up. "Show me." A holographic display appeared. The officer activated several charts. At first glance, they looked normal. Then Varix noticed something. His eyes narrowed. "What is this?" The officer swallowed. "The human adaptation rate." Varix stared. The data showed every battle fought so far. The first encounters heavily favored the Dominion, but each new engagement told a different story. Human losses were decreasing. Their accuracy was improving. Their tactics were evolving, and they were learning at a speed the analysts had never seen before. The officer looked uncomfortable. "The humans are studying every battle." "So?" Varix asked. "So are we." The officer shook his head. "Not like this." He enlarged the display. Captured communications appeared. Battle recordings. Weapon analyses. Enemy movement predictions. Everything was being shared across the entire human military network. Every captain, every pilot, every commander. Everyone learned from every battle. Instantly, the room became silent. One senior officer finally spoke. "They're turning experience into weapons." Nobody disagreed. Meanwhile, deep beneath Earth's surface, Admiral Marcus Hale stood inside the Human Strategic Command Center. Hundreds of specialists worked around him. Large holographic maps covered the walls. Information flowed constantly. Every battle, every movement, every enemy transmission. Nothing was ignored. A young intelligence officer approached. "Admiral, we finished translating additional Dominion records." Hale nodded. "What did we learn?" The officer smiled. "Quite a lot." That answer made several nearby commanders look interested. The officer activated a display. Images of Dominion warships appeared. Technical specifications, weapon systems, engine designs, shield frequencies. The humans were learning rapidly. Every destroyed enemy vessel provided information. Every intercepted communication revealed weaknesses. Every battle became a classroom. And humanity had always been good at learning. Hale folded his arms. "How long until we can use it?" The officer grinned. "We already are." At that exact moment, across the solar system, another battle was beginning. Near Jupiter's orbit, a Dominion attack force approached a human defensive line. The enemy commander felt confident. He had studied previous battles. He knew human tactics. He knew their formations. He knew exactly what to expect. Or so he thought. As the fleets approached, something strange happened. The human ships moved into completely unfamiliar positions. The formations were different. The attack patterns were different. Even their communication signals had changed. The Dominion commander frowned. "This isn't their standard doctrine." An officer nodded. "No, Commander. Before anyone could react, the human fleet attacked. The Dominion commander immediately realized something was wrong. The humans had adapted. Again, their ships exploited weaknesses discovered only hours earlier. Weapons targeted vulnerable shield angles. Missiles struck exposed sensor systems. Attack groups bypassed offensive screens with frightening precision. The battle became chaos. Dominion vessels struggled to respond. Nothing happened the way simulations predicted. Nothing. Within 2 hours, the attack force retreated. The humans held their position. And once again, the galaxy watched in disbelief. Alien military experts began arguing on live broadcasts. One analyst finally summarized the problem. The humans are improving faster than the Dominion can adjust. The statement spread everywhere. For the first time, some civilizations began wondering whether humanity could actually win. Back inside Dominion territory, concern was spreading. Several governors demanded explanations. Industrial leaders questioned military projections. Citizens began hearing stories about human victories. Small stories at first, then larger ones. The image of an unstoppable empire was beginning to crack, and cracks could become dangerous, especially in an empire built on fear. 3 days later, an emergency meeting was called. The highest-ranking Dominion leaders gathered through secure communications. Commander Verex appeared on the central screen. The conversation was tense from the beginning. One governor spoke first. "You promised a quick victory." Verex remained calm. "The situation is under control." Another governor interrupted. "Then why are losses increasing?" No answer came immediately, because everyone already knew the truth. Losses were increasing, and humanity was the reason. Meanwhile, something remarkable was happening among the human population. The war was bringing people together. Old political divisions became less important. Countries cooperated more closely than ever before. Scientists shared discoveries freely. Engineers worked around the clock. Factories operated continuously. Everyone contributed somehow. The Dominion had expected humanity to fracture under pressure. Instead, pressure was making them stronger. Admiral Hale watched it happen every day. That unity was becoming one of humanity's greatest weapons. And the Dominion still did not understand it. Then came the discovery that changed everything. Late one night, intelligence specialists analyzing captured Dominion data found something unusual. At first, it seemed insignificant, a routine logistics report. Nothing special. Then someone noticed a pattern. Certain locations appeared repeatedly. Supply hubs, communication centers, fleet coordination stations, all connected. The specialists dug deeper. Hours passed. Then one analyst suddenly stood up. His face had gone pale. "Admiral." Hale looked over. "What is it?" The analyst swallowed. "I think we found it." The room became quiet. "Found what?" The analyst activated a holographic model. A massive network appeared. Lines connected thousands of Dominion systems, military fleets, industrial worlds, command centers. Everything linked together. The analyst pointed at the center. "This." Hale studied the display. Then he understood, and for the first time in days, he smiled. The Dominion Empire looked massive, powerful, invincible. But underneath all that power was a hidden weakness. The Empire depended on centralized coordination. Everything flowed through a small number of critical systems. Destroy those systems, and the entire structure could collapse. Not immediately, but eventually, like removing key supports from a giant building. The analyst looked at Hale. "If we're right, this changes everything." Hale nodded slowly. "It does." Across the room, officers exchanged nervous glances, because they all understood what this meant. Humanity finally had a path to victory. A difficult path, a dangerous path, but a path nonetheless. Far away, Commander Verex stood aboard his flagship, unaware that humans had just discovered the Empire's greatest vulnerability. He still believed the war could be won through superior force. He still believed humanity would eventually break. He still believed time favored the Dominion. He was wrong, because every passing day made humanity stronger. Every battle taught new lessons. Every sacrifice created new determination. And now, humanity possessed something even more dangerous than courage, a target. As fleets maneuvered through the darkness between worlds, preparations quietly began. The next phase of the war was coming, and when it arrived, the Dominion Empire would discover a terrifying truth. Humans did not simply survive challenges. They learned from them, adapted to them, and eventually, the war had entered its second month. Across the galaxy, one question dominated every news channel, every political meeting, and every military discussion. How was humanity still standing? The Dominion Empire had conquered hundreds of civilizations. Entire star systems had surrendered after seeing a single Dominion fleet, yet Earth remained unconquered. More than that, humanity was fighting back. Every battle seemed to create stronger human forces. Every defeat somehow became a lesson. Every sacrifice inspired even greater resistance. The galaxy had never seen anything like it, but the Dominion had finally lost patience. Inside the imperial capital, located thousands of light years away from Earth, the Supreme Emperor sat upon a massive black throne. The room around him was silent. Dozens of military leaders stood below. Nobody dared speak first. The Emperor's golden eyes scanned the room. His expression was cold, very cold. The humans still resist. No one answered, because there was nothing to say. The Emperor already knew the truth. Entire Dominion fleets had been delayed. Important supply routes had been destroyed. Military bases once considered secure were now under constant attack. And worst of all, other civilizations had started paying attention. Some were beginning to question Dominion rule. That could not be allowed. Finally, the Emperor stood. His voice echoed through the chamber. Gather the 7th, 9th, and 12th fleets. Several officers looked shocked. Those fleets were legendary. Each one contained thousands of warships. Entire civilizations had surrendered simply by seeing them arrive. Combining all three fleets would create one of the largest military forces in Dominion history. The Emperor continued, "Humanity will serve as an example." The room remained silent. Everyone understood what that meant. The next attack would not be an invasion. It would be an execution. Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Marcus Hale received the intelligence report. The old admiral stared at the screen for several seconds. Then he slowly removed his glasses. Around him, officers waited nervously. One finally spoke. "Sir." Hale exhaled. "The Emperor is coming." The room became silent. Everyone understood the danger. The Dominion had decided to end the war. No more limited offensives. No more testing defenses. The full weight of the Empire was finally moving toward Earth. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Captain Sarah Cole broke the silence. "Can we stop them?" The question hung in the air. Hale looked around the room. He saw fear, concern, uncertainty, all perfectly normal. Then he smiled, a small smile, but a real one. "We don't need to stop them." The officers exchanged confused looks. Hale pointed toward the star map. "We need to survive long enough." That answer surprised everyone. Then realization slowly spread. Human intelligence had discovered the Empire's weakness. The operation was already being prepared. They simply needed time. Time was now the most valuable resource in the galaxy. Unfortunately, the Dominion was coming to take it away. 3 weeks later, sensors detected the enemy. The reports were terrifying. Thousands upon thousands of warships emerged from hyperspace. The fleet stretched across space farther than most sensors could see. It looked endless. Entire stars disappeared behind the advancing armada. Across Earth, emergency alerts sounded. Citizens looked toward the sky. Many already knew what was happening. The final battle had arrived. News broadcasts became continuous. Every screen displayed the same images. The largest invasion fleet in human history. People watched quietly. Some were afraid. Others were angry. But nobody asked about surrender anymore. That question had disappeared weeks ago. Humanity had already made its choice. On board the Resolute, Captain Sarah Cole stood on the bridge. The warship had survived dozens of battles. Its hull carried scars. Its crew carried even more. Yet, nobody requested reassignment. Nobody asked to leave. The ship's crew had become a family, and families fought for each other. An officer approached. "Captain, all fleet elements are in position." Sarah nodded. Outside the bridge window, thousands of human ships waited. Some were advanced warships. Others were converted civilian vessels, mining ships, cargo transports, exploration craft. Anything capable of carrying weapons had joined the defense. Humanity was bringing everything, because there would be no second chance. Far away, Commander Varix stood aboard the Imperial flagship. Even he felt overwhelmed by the size of the fleet surrounding him. The Emperor had sent nearly everything. Victory seemed guaranteed. Finally, Varix activated fleet communications. His voice echoed across thousands of ships. "Today the war ends." Cheering erupted throughout Dominion channels. For the first time in weeks, confidence returned. Humanity had fought well, but no species could survive this. No species. Then the battle began. The first exchange of fire lit up the darkness. Energy beams crossed millions of kilometers. Missiles filled space. Explosions erupted everywhere. Entire formations vanished within minutes. The scale was unlike anything seen before. Human ships were destroyed. Dominion ships were destroyed. The casualty numbers climbed rapidly. Hours passed. Then more hours. Yet something strange happened. Human defenses refused to collapse. Every time a defensive line broke, another appeared behind it. Every time the Dominion advanced, they paid a terrible price. Again and again, and again, the humans simply would not quit. On Earth, citizens watched the battle unfold. Some cried as ships were lost. Others prayed. Others volunteered for support efforts. Medical centers remained open around the clock. Factories operated nonstop. Every person contributed somehow. Nobody wanted to sit helplessly while others fought. That determination spread everywhere. Then something unexpected happened. A transmission appeared on public channels. It came from a heavily damaged human destroyer. The ship was moments from destruction. Its engines were failing. Its weapons were gone. Everyone expected a final goodbye. Instead, the captain smiled. "We held them for 12 minutes. The bridge crew behind him smiled too. The captain continued. 12 minutes longer than they expected. Then the transmission ended. Moments later, the ship was destroyed. Across Earth, silence followed. Then applause began. One person, then 10, then hundreds. Soon entire cities were clapping. Not because the ship was lost, because the crew had refused to give up. That spirit spread through every human fleet, every captain, every pilot, every soldier, every citizen. The Dominion noticed it too. And for the first time, fear appeared among Imperial commanders, because they finally understood something. Humans measured victory differently. The Empire believed victory came from power. Humans believed victory came from endurance. And endurance was much harder to destroy. As the battle raged, Admiral Hale received a new report. He read it once, then twice. A slow smile appeared on his face. The operation had succeeded. Human strike teams had reached the first critical Dominion coordination hub. The network was beginning to crack. The Empire simply didn't know it yet. Hale looked toward the giant star map. Thousands were dying. The battle was far from over. But for the first time, he could see a path forward. A real one. Meanwhile, far across the battlefield, warning alarms suddenly echoed throughout Dominion command systems. One communication relay had gone dark. Then another. Then another. Confusion spread. Officers scrambled for answers. Commander Varix stared at the reports. Something was happening. Something very wrong. And somewhere deep inside enemy territory, human special forces were already moving toward their next target. The battle for Earth was still raging. But the battle that could destroy the Empire had finally begun. The battle for Earth was still raging. Across millions of kilometers of space, fleets clashed in a storm of fire and destruction. Human ships fought beside damaged allies. Dominion battleships pushed forward relentlessly. Entire formations vanished in seconds. Yet something had changed. For the first time since the war began, confusion was spreading to the Dominion ranks. Communication relays were failing. Command signals were arriving late. Fleet coordinators were reporting strange delays. At first, commanders blamed technical problems. Then another relay station went silent, and another, and another. Inside the Imperial flagship, Commander Varix stared at the growing list of failures. His hands tightened behind his back. This was impossible. The Dominion communication network had survived wars for centuries. It connected thousands of systems. It was protected by fleets, fortresses, and advanced security systems. Nothing should have been able to touch it. Yet humans were doing exactly that. An officer rushed forward. "Commander, we've lost contact with Sector 14. Varix frowned. "What caused it?" "We don't know." Another officer stood. "Sector 9 has gone dark as well." Then another report arrived. And another. The command deck became increasingly chaotic. For the first time in decades, Dominion officers looked afraid. Meanwhile, far from the main battle, humanity's most dangerous mission was underway. Small strike groups moved through deep space. They avoided major battles. They avoided detection. Their target was not enemy ships. Their target was the Empire itself. Months earlier, human intelligence had discovered the truth. The Dominion Empire looked powerful because everything was connected. Its fleets relied on central commands. Its military depended on synchronized communication. Its governors depended on imperial oversight. Destroy enough connections, and the Empire would begin tearing itself apart. That was exactly what humanity intended to do, aboard a stealth vessel hidden near a Dominion relay station. Captain Sarah Cole studied the mission display. Her team had already completed 2 successful operations. This would be the third, and the most dangerous. An officer looked toward her. "Captain, security patrols are increasing." Sarah nodded. "They know we're here. Should we abort?" Sarah shook her head. "No." The officer smiled. He already knew her answer. Humanity had not come this far to turn back. Minutes later, the strike team launched. Small attack craft raced toward the relay station. Enemy defenses activated immediately. Weapons opened fire. Space erupted into flashes of light. One human fighter exploded. Then another. But the survivors continued forward. Closer, closer, closer. Finally, they reached the station. Explosions ripped through critical systems. Massive communication arrays shattered. Power grids failed. The giant structure went dark. Another piece of the Dominion network disappeared. Across the galaxy, the effects spread instantly. Military fleets lost coordination. Supply routes became disrupted. Orders failed to arrive. Governors suddenly found themselves isolated. The cracks in the Empire were growing wider. Back at Earth, the final battle continued. Human losses were severe. Entire squadrons had been destroyed. Cities prepared emergency shelters. Hospitals overflowed with wounded personnel. Yet, nobody talked about surrender. Not anymore. The question itself felt absurd. Humanity had survived too much, sacrificed too much, fought too hard. There was only one direction left. Forward. On the bridge of the Imperial flagship, Commander Varix finally received the report he had been dreading. The Emperor's central coordination network was collapsing. Varix read the report twice, then a third time. The numbers were undeniable. The Empire's greatest strength had become its greatest weakness. Everything depended on the network, and the humans were systematically destroying it. For the first time during the entire war, Varix felt genuine fear. Not fear of losing a battle. Fear of losing an empire. Far away in the imperial capital, emergency meetings filled every government building. Officials shouted over each other. Military leaders demanded answers. Governors demanded reinforcements. Entire sectors reported unrest. Some worlds had already started rebelling. Others openly refused imperial orders. The Empire's image of invincibility was disappearing. And once fear vanished, obedience followed. The Emperor himself stood before a massive star map. Red warning symbols covered dozens of systems. His empire was unraveling, not because humanity possessed stronger technology, not because humanity possessed larger fleets, because humanity had found the one weakness nobody else had seen, the weakness hidden beneath centuries of dominance, the weakness called dependence. Then came the final blow. Human strike forces reached the primary Imperial Coordination Nexus, the most important communication center in the Dominion Empire. The facility was protected by enormous defenses. Battleships guarded every approach. Fortresses surrounded the structure. The Dominion believed it was untouchable. They were wrong. Human commanders launched everything they had left: fighters, bombers, stealth ships, special forces. Every available asset joined the attack. The battle was brutal. Many never returned, but they accomplished their mission. The Nexus fell. The moment it happened, the galaxy changed. Across thousands of systems, Dominion fleets lost synchronization. Military responses slowed dramatically. Governors stopped receiving orders. Entire sectors became isolated. The Empire's control shattered. One by one, conquered worlds rose up. Rebellions erupted everywhere. Systems that had obeyed for generations suddenly declared independence. The unstoppable Dominion Empire began collapsing before everyone's eyes, and there was nothing it could do to stop it. Weeks later, the war officially ended. The surviving Dominion leadership agreed to cease hostilities. Their fleets withdrew. Their empire fragmented. The conflict was over. Humanity had survived. More than survived. It had changed galactic history. Years later, historians still debated the war. Some credited human military strategy. Others pointed to industrial production. Some praised intelligence operations. All were partly correct, but none explained the whole story. The true answer was much simpler. The galaxy had misunderstood humanity. They saw a young species and assumed weakness. They saw kindness and assumed surrender. They saw cooperation and assumed fear. They were wrong. Humanity valued peace. But peace was not the same as submission. And when forced to choose between surrender and resistance, humans chose resistance. Every time. On a distant world decades later, a young alien student sat inside a classroom. The teacher displayed images from the Human Dominion War. The student raised a hand. Why do so many species respect humans now? The teacher smiled. The answer was famous throughout the galaxy. Because when the strongest empire in history demanded surrender, the classroom became silent. The teacher pointed toward an image of Earth. Humans looked up at the stars and said no. The student stared at the screen. The teacher smiled again. And the galaxy never forgot it.